In the vast, desolate expanse of the Sahara Desert, where the scorching sun bakes the golden dunes by day and the cold, clear sky reveals a blanket of stars by night, an unprecedented discovery awaited. Dr. Adrian Carter, an esteemed archaeologist known for his daring explorations, received a cryptic message from an old colleague, Dr. Helena Rossi. The message spoke of ancient ruins hidden beneath the shifting sands, a city lost to time and forgotten by history. Dr. Carter assembled a team of specialists, geologist Dr. Ethan Hall, linguist Dr. Maria Alvarez, and engineer James Mitchell. They were joined by local guide Hassan, who knew the desert like the back of his hand. Armed with cutting-edge technology and boundless curiosity, they set off on a journey deep into the Sahara. Their destination was a remote area known as the Whispering Dunes, named for the eerie sounds the wind made as it swept through the undulating sands. Hassan told tales of the dunes speaking of ancient secrets, warning those who dared to listen. The team dismissed it as local folklore, but as they approached the coordinates Helena had provided, a palpable tension hung in the air. The first sign of their discovery came when the ground-penetrating radar detected large, unnatural structures buried deep beneath the desert floor. Excitement surged through the team as they began their excavation. Days turned into weeks, and the harsh desert conditions tested their endurance. Yet, their perseverance paid off when they uncovered the entrance to a vast underground complex. The entrance was marked by towering stone pillars, adorned with intricate carvings depicting strange humanoid figures engaged in activities both familiar and alien. The figures bore a resemblance to humans, but with elongated limbs and eyes that seemed almost too large for their faces. The architecture was unlike anything they had seen, combining elements of known ancient cultures with inexplicable advancements. As they descended into the subterranean city, the air grew cooler and the light dimmer. Their flashlights illuminated sprawling corridors lined with more carvings and hieroglyphs. Dr. Alvarez was enthralled by the language, which seemed to be a hybrid of ancient scripts and something entirely unique. She meticulously documented everything, hoping to decipher the secrets they held. Deep within the city, they found a central chamber that took their breath away. It was a vast hall, its ceiling supported by massive columns that glowed faintly with an otherworldly light. In the center stood a large circular altar made of an unknown, lustrous material. Surrounding the altar were stone statues of the strange humanoid figures, their eyes seeming to follow the team's every move. As they explored further, they discovered living quarters, workshops, and vast libraries filled with scrolls and tablets. The civilization had been incredibly advanced, with knowledge of sciences and technologies that surpassed even modern understanding. Dr. Hall found evidence of sophisticated engineering and energy harnessing methods that defied explanation, but the deeper they went, the more they sensed an unsettling presence. Shadows seemed to move just out of sight, and the air grew thick with a feeling of being watched. James, typically unflappable, began to hear whispers that no one else could hear. He described them as voices speaking in a language that was both foreign and oddly familiar. One night, as they reviewed their findings, the team heard a distant, mournful wail echoing through the corridors. It was a sound that chilled them to the bone. Despite their growing unease, curiosity drove them to press on. They followed the sound to a sealed chamber at the very heart of the city. Breaking the seal, they entered to find a vast, dark room. As their flashlights pierced the darkness, they revealed a horrifying sight. Rows of stone sarcophagi lined the walls, each adorned with the likeness of the strange humanoid figures. In the center of the room stood a massive sarcophagus, more elaborate than the rest. Dr. Carter, unable to resist, approached and carefully lifted the lid. Inside lay a mummified figure, its skin desiccated but eerily well preserved. Its eyes were closed, but it radiated a palpable sense of dread. Dr. Alvarez's voice trembled as she translated the inscriptions on the sarcophagus. "Here lies King Aratak, last ruler of the city of Kala, cursed to eternal slumber." As she read the final word, the chamber seemed to come alive. The air grew cold, and an unearthly howl filled the room. The sarcophagi began to tremble, and the mummified figures within started to stir. Panic set in as the team realized they had awakened something ancient and malevolent. They fled the chamber, the whispers now a cacophony of angry voices. The city seemed to shift around them, corridors leading to dead ends and familiar paths turning into mazes. One by one, members of the team disappeared into the darkness, their screams echoing in the haunted halls. Dr. Carter and Dr. Alvarez were the last remaining. They stumbled upon a hidden passage that led them back to the surface. As they emerged from the entrance, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the desert. Exhausted and traumatized, they watched as the sands began to shift, slowly burying the entrance once more. They returned to civilization, their story met with skepticism and disbelief. The artifacts and recordings they managed to bring back were confiscated by authorities, sealed away in government archives. The world would never know the full extent of what they had discovered. Dr. Carter and Dr. Alvarez never spoke of the expedition again, haunted by the memories of the lost city and the horrors they had unleashed. The Sahara kept its secrets, whispering them only to those who dared to listen. And so the legend of the lost city of Kala lived on, a chilling reminder of the ancient civilizations that once thrived beneath the sands and the horrors that still linger in the depths of the earth.